Hi, hello friends. Welcome to T Academy. In this video, I am going to cover a model paper for Andhra Pradesh Grama Ward Sachivalayam Digital Assistant Examination. Generally, this paper is having a questions of 150. Each question will carry 1 mark. So total how many? 150 questions. Among the 150 questions, 50 questions are from general studies and current affairs, and the remaining 100 questions are purely technical. So okay, in the technical subjects, again we will divide into two branches. It will have computer science engineering branch, and it is having electrical and EC. So little part is EC and the major part is triple E. Okay, when you compare CSC and triple E, so CSC will have major part. Okay, now if you observe in my previous model papers of digital assistant, I had given total 100 questions. Okay, so it will have both the CSC as well as triple E concepts. Now in this video, what I am doing is I divide this 100 questions into 50 questions, that is computer science engineering, and 50 questions belongs to electrical and electronics engineering. Okay, so this is the part of electrical and electronics engineering. Okay, in the next upcoming part, I will discuss the 50 questions from computer science engineering. So why I am doing, because these 50 questions are useful for other competitive exams such as ISRO or APGENCO or TRANSCO or whatever the examination that belongs to electrical and electronics engineering. Okay, so I will making this video especially for the AP Gram Award Sachivalayam examinations. Okay, so this is AP Gram Award Sachivalayam Digital Assistant or Panchayat Secretary Grade 6 examination. So that's why in these questions I skipped the topic of control systems. Okay, so control system, and I skipped some of the major topics of the analog and digital electronics, so that these people will get benefited. So this video also useful for the examinations of PSUs. Okay, so let's start the first question here. Okay, let me take this page here, right? Okay, sorry. Now the question is, a 400 volts 400 volts transformer has a per unit impedance of 0.05. The HV side voltage required to circulate a load current, full load current during the short circuit test is. I will repeat the question here. A 400 bar 200 volts transformer has a per unit impedance of 0.05. The HV side voltage required to circulate the full load current during the short circuit test is. So let me take a question here. So 51st question will take here. Okay, right here. Now in this question, what the given data is, they given a transformer. Okay, the transformer like this. Now in the transformer, the primary winding will have a voltage of 400 volts, secondary winding will have 200 volts, and they are having a reactance of 0.05. So this will be per unit. Okay, now what they are asked to do is they are making a short circuit here. So secondary winding gets short circuited here. Now what will be the voltage required here to get the rated full load current here? Generally this question is having a data of reactance. Okay, now in order to perform a short circuit test, we should apply the 5 to 10% of rated voltage. Okay, so rated voltage, what's the rated voltage on the primary side? It is 400 volts. Now 5% means 5 into 400 divided by 100. So this is the minimum voltage we need to apply. Maximum voltage will be, so 10 into 400 divided by 100. So as you do done here, the VSC is going to be how much here? 0 gets 20 volts, the minimum value, and the VSC is going to be 40 volts. So generally these are the two concentrations we have. So while doing the short circuit test, we should take this voltage as minimum as possible. Why? Because if you studied in a short circuit test, you can observe that short circuit voltage, short circuit means ideal short circuit means voltage will be minimum. So based on this condition, you should choose this minimum value of voltage VSC. So among the options, the both options will appear. Okay, it is not a only 20 volts. So both the options are there. Among both the options, A will give the minimum value. So minimum value means A is the right answer here. Next one, next question here, it's theory question here. The no loading heat run test, that means a no load heat run test on a transformer is performed by means of dash test. So we'll perform this test by using Sumner test. The other options are also there: short circuit, open circuit, core balance test. Why? Because so in case of the Sumner test, what we will do is we will load the one transformer with the help of another transformer, but without actually loading it on the machine. So two transformers are connected in a back-to-back fashion. So that is the reason why the Sumner test is also known as back-to-back test here. Okay. So the correct answer for this question is 52 one is a D is the right option. There is one more question. The bundled conductors. So bundled conductors are mainly used in high voltage overhead transmission line to reduce dash. Okay, the bundled conductors are used to reduce the main. What are the losses? Okay, there is no nothing about to do with the losses here. We can reduce the corona losses. How it's possible, sir? So if you are using this overhead transmission line and with the help of bundle conductors, we are going to actually increase the virtual radius of the conductor. As the radius of the conductor increase, automatically corona losses is going to be goes down. Okay, so the correct answer for this question is 53 is C here. Now next one, the surge impedance of OHTL is normally the surge impedance of overhead transmission lines. The overhead transmission lines is 400 ohms. Suppose if you are taking the underground cables, it will have 40 ohms here. So this is a very important examination point of view. Next, and next question is from the subject of networks. An element is said to have negative resistance. Negative resistance means when is the options are the element has a negative temperature coefficient. NTC means negative temperature coefficient. The current and voltage curves has a negative slope. So not possible to see here. I will repeat again. The current and voltage curves have negative slope. Element have positive temperature coefficient. D is a none. An element is said to be negative resistance means if you take this axis here, voltage, current, okay, and negative voltage, negative current here. Generally the negative resistance characters will lie here. Okay, the current and voltage curve will have a negative slope here. So positive slope here means is a passive element. So positive slope means it is a passive element. Negative resistance slope means it is a source. Okay, so extra point you can consider. And the next one here, next one, the power transformer is a dash device. The power transformer is a constant current device, constant voltage device, constant power device, pulsating main flux device. So among the options, the correct option is it is a pulsating main flux device. The power transformer is a pulsating, right here, PULSATING, pulsating main flux device. So remember this point here. Okay, so this may appear in your examination. Next one, the high frequency hum in a transformer is mainly due to. So what is this hum, sir? If you are walking around the transformer in the streets, you can observe there is a humming noise. Okay, that humming noise is because of, they're asking the question. So the options are magnetostriction, loose fittings, impurity in oil, D none. So actually the reason because of that one is magnetostriction. So that means expansion and contraction of the core material used in the transformer. It is going to make some vibration noises. Okay, and loose fitting is also another option is correct, but magnetostriction is the main reason. If the magnetostriction is there, humming noise will be there. If the loose fittings are there, it will going to vibrate and it will going to make the more and more noise. Okay, so frequency hum means magnetostriction. Okay, the noise is amplified with the help of loose fittings. Okay, if you have tight fittings, no issue at all. Okay, it will just make some humming noise. Next one, and this is also repeated question in power system. resistance switching is normally employed in? Yes, it is the air blast circuit breaker. The other options also there, you can see here. It is a air blast circuit breaker. Next one, the low resistance is measured with the help of dash bridge. So this question is from the measurements. The low resistance can be measured with the help of Kelvin's double bridge. So this question is asked in around 2017 AP Transco question. Okay, AP Transco or Genco, I didn't remember exactly, but it is asked in AP Transco or Genco mostly. Okay, so it is in Kelvin's double bridge. Next one, which bridge is used to determine the frequency? So as the options are Anderson bridge, de Sauty's bridge, Wien bridge, and Campbell's bridge. Okay, so Wien's bridge is used to measure the frequency. Okay, so Wien's bridge is used to measure the frequency. It's straight and direct questions are there given. Okay, so let's move to the 70th question here. So okay, right here, 70th question here. Sorry, 61. Sorry, 61 here. All right. So in the 61 question, the question is, the capacitor start run single phase induction motor is operational A. So capacitor start dash capacitor run, that means one capacitor is used to start the motor, another capacitor is used to run the motor. Okay, then the single phase induction motor is operational A. Generally the single phase induction motor, it is a not a self starting motor. Remember this point, it is a not self starting motor. Suppose the same question will be appears you. It has a three phase induction motor means, yes, three phase induction motor means it is a self starting motor. So three phase means self starting motor, single phase means a non self starting motor. So when you are using the capacitor start and a capacitor run, one capacitor for starting purpose, another capacitor for running purpose, it will act as two phase motor. It will act as a two phase motor. Now next one, simple question. This question you can answer directly. So copper behaves as, so copper can be behave as, it acts as a conductor, insulator, or capacitor, or all. So as we know that capacitor is a good conducting material. So good conducting material means its resistance will be very low value. Okay, if the resistance is high, it can act as a capacitor. Okay, now capacitor it not act. Why? Because there should be a dielectric medium in between the two conducting bodies, so capacitor will not act. Among the correct option is a conductor. So capacitor behave as a conductor always. Okay, next one, the next question. So this is also repeated question in the power system subject. Ferranti effect occurs in the transmission lines. So TL means here transmission lines under dash conditions. So transmission lines Ferranti effect means the receiving end voltage should be greater than the sending end voltage. Okay, so this is a condition. It is going to happen when the light load condition or no load condition. So correct answer is no load or light load conditions. The other options are there, full load, half load, and none. Okay, as you can see here. Okay, and the next one, which of the following circuit will give no transients? Sorry, sorry. Next one, which of the following circuit will have no transients means, so transients is occur in a element or in a circuit when we have the energy storage components such as inductance or capacitance or a combination of both with the element of R. Okay, so if you combine with the RL, it is we have transients, we have RC transients, we have LC transients, we have RLC transients, everything is there. Okay, so there will not be no transients means, though no transients means the correct option is only it will have resistance. Okay, so LC is the wrong option. Why? Because energy storage element. RLC also energy storage elements are present here. LC, RL also energy storage element is present here. So the correct option is 64th one is R. Next one, and so I will read the question here. Why? Because I have written in a small congested manner. So please try to understand. A conductor of length 100 centimeters moves right angle to the magnitude field. So understand the right angle to the magnetic field of the flux density 2 Webers per meter. Okay, 2 Webers per meter with the velocity of 25 meters per second, then the induced EMF is. Okay, so I will take one fresh page here to answer this question. So let me take here the question number is, yes, the question number is 65. So the conductor of length 100 centimeters. So they given the length, how much length it is? 100 centimeters, and moves at an right angle. Right angle means theta is how much? 90 degrees, with a magnetic field of flux density B is equal to 2 Webers. So 2 Webers per meter square, actually here Webers per meter square, with a velocity of V is how much? V is 25 meters per second. Okay, the given data. Now what we need to find? The induced EMF. So induced EMF E is equal to the capital BLV into sine theta. Okay, now here B already you know how much they given. So 2, length is how much? 100. If you convert into centimeters, there will be meters. You need to convert 10 power minus 2 into velocity is how much? So 25 into meters per second. Okay, meters per second into sine 90. You know the sine 90 will be 1. So which is equal to 2 into 100 into 10 power minus 2 into 25. Okay, 10 power minus 2, 100 will go. So how much we have? 50 units are volts here. So now you got the answer. 65th question, the answer is 50 volts. So let's move to the question here. The answer sorry, the answer for the question is 65 minus B is a correct answer. Next one, and 66th question here, an inductance of 1 Henry carrying a current of 2 amperes, so will store the energy of dash joules. I'll repeat the question. An inductance of 1 Henry carrying a current of 2 amperes will store the energy of dash joules. So let me take the paper here, right? Okay, now I'll discuss the 66th question here. Now 66th question, L value is given as 1 Henry and the current is given as a 2 amperes. I need to find the value of energy. E is nothing but half L into I square. What is the L value? L is nothing but 1 Henry into I square means 2 square. So 2 square means how many you get? 2 joules here. So answer is 2 joules here. Okay. So the answer for this question is dash joules means B is a correct option. Okay. Next one, there is one more question here. Two numbers of 500 ohms 1 watt resistors are connected in parallel. Their combined resistance and wattage rating will be. Okay, so let me take here the explanation. Okay, next one. The question here, it is a 67th question. 67th question. So there are two numbers of 500 ohm resistors. So let me take one resistor here, 500 ohms. So there will be another resistor. Okay, so how much they are having 500 ohms and the units are 1 watt and this is 1 watt here. So those two are connected in parallel combinations. So when they are connected in parallel combinations, their equivalent value will be R1 R2 by R1 plus R2. So this is the R equivalent. Now R1 value is 500, R2 value is also 500. So simply if you find the R equivalent, it is nothing but 500 by 2, 250 ohms here. Okay. Now what about the power? So power P total is equal to, so P1 plus P2. So okay, so it's nothing but 1 plus 1, 2 watts here, 1 watt here, 1 watt here. Okay. Now so if they ask a question in the same series connection, so series connection means, so 1 1 watt here and 1 watt here. So there is no change in the power, either is series connection or parallel connection, it will have only 1 watt. Suppose R equivalent is nothing but R1 plus R2. So which we add together here, I'll get 1000 ohms if they ask a question series. Okay, so correct answer for this question is It's a 2 watts and a 250 ohms is the correct answer. So let's check the options here. Yes, so you can see the B is the appropriate answer here. Okay, next question. So, and these questions are chosen from the communication systems of ECE. The frequencies in the UH ultra high frequency range normally the propagate by means of dash wave. Okay, I'll repeat the question. Frequencies in the UHF range normally propagated by the means of dash wave. That is a space wave. So answer is space wave here. Next one, indicate the antenna that is not wideband. Okay, so among the given options, so the right option is Marconi. So Marconi is the antenna that is not having a wideband range. Okay, next one, the question, the depth of penetration of a wave in a lossy dielectric increases with the increasing in. I'll repeat the question. The depth of the penetration, okay, penetration of wave in a lossy dielectric increases with the increase in. So penetration will increase with the dash. The options are wavelength, conductivity, permeability, permittivity. So the correct option for this question is, it is a wavelength here. Next one, we'll move to the next question here. Next, yeah, this question I chosen from the Analog Electronics. Which of the following multi-vibrator is called as flip flop? So why it is a flip flop means, so flip is a one state, flop is another state. Okay, that means as you see in this flip flop, there should be two states. So two states means by default answer it is a bistable multi-vibrator. So bistable multi-vibrator which can stores the state of the output, either it may be 1 or it may be 0. It will continuously, okay, until unless you give triggering pulse it won't change. Okay, so it will have stable in the both the states. So that's why it is reason the flip flop is analyzed by with the help of bistable multi vibrator. Next one, the amount of feedback applied to an amplifier reduces the gain by a factor of 10. The amount of feedback applied to an amplifier reduces the gain by a factor of 10. The bandwidth is dash. So the simple answer for this question is, let me take the 72nd question. What they asked is, they asked to find, okay, 77 gain, what will happen to the bandwidth. Okay, so we know that the gain into the product of gain into bandwidth is always equal to a constant. So what is the meaning? This one is, if you are increasing the gain, okay, automatically bandwidth will have to decrease. In the given question, that the amount of feedback amplifier to an amplifier reduces gain. So gain is going to be reduces, okay, by how much? It is going to reduce by 10%. Similarly, if you want to make a constant, you need to increase the bandwidth by how much? 10%. Okay, so we'll check the options in that for that 72nd question. Yes, here for the 72nd question, the amount of feedback applied to an amplifier reduces by the gain factor of 10. The bandwidth increases by a factor of 10 here. So B is the most appropriate answer here for this question here. Next one, the ROM consists of, okay, the ROM consisting of dash followed by a encoder. Here I'm writing here encoder. Okay, the ROM consisting of an decoder followed by an encoder. Okay, the other options are encoder, multiplexer, multi-vibrator. So answer is 72nd, third question. A is the right answer. Next one, which of the following dynamic impedance offered by ideal tank circuit in a network? The dynamic impedance offered by ideal tank circuit is infinity. Okay, so it is going to be offered the infinity amount of impedance here. So 74th question, C here. Next one, 75th question here. If the current drawn by a DC series motor is increased from 10 amps to 12 amps, what is the increase in the torque expressed as a percentage of initial torque. I'm repeating the question. If the current drawn by a DC series motor is increased from 10 amperes to 12 amperes, what is the increase in the torque expressed as a percentage of initial torque? So that is we need to find here. So very simple question here. So let me take the 75th here. Okay, now I'll take the 75th question here. So in the 75th question, first there is a DC series motor is there. Okay, so DC series motor is there. Now it is drawing a current of, first it is a current of 10 amperes, and in next case it is drawing a current of 12 amperes. Now what is the torque here? So DC series motor, T is proportional to, generally relationship is T phi into Ia. Especially DC series motor, phi A and Ia becomes equal, so proportional to, I will write as a Ia square or I1 square I2 square. Now first case, what is the torque proportional to? T1 is proportional to Ia, means you will take 10 amperes, 10 square. T2 is proportional to 14 square. How much it is? 100. How much it is? 12 square. So 12 means 144 here. Now we need to tell what? So we need to tell the answer in terms of expressed as a percentage of initial torque. So percentage means what we will take is T2 minus T1 divided by T1 into 100. So 144 minus 100 divided by 100. Initial torque means 100 means. So we'll take percentage means we'll multiply with 100 here. That's nothing but a 44 percentage here. So for the 75th question here, let me take the answer. It has, okay, 44% here. So D is the right answer here. Next one. So here I will read the question here. Just listen the question. Following data are obtained by slip test on a silent pole machine. Sorry for the inconvenience which you are not able to observe this pole machine. And the given data is ID max is 10 amperes, VD max is 30 volts, ID minimum is 6.5 amps, and VD minimum is 25 volts. What is the direct axis reactance XD and XQ? Okay, so let me explain the same data in a fresh page here. So the question number that we are seeing here, it is 76th question, right? So in the 76th question, the given data is the ID XD comma XQ you need to calculate here. What is the data given is ID max, it is nothing but how much? 10 amperes, and similarly VD max, it is 30 volts, and ID minimum is 6.5 amperes, and VD minimum is 25 volts. Now we need to calculate the XD and XQ. So the basic simple formula here, it is XD is equal to V max by I minimum. So what is VD max here? 30 divided by ID minimum is 6.5, and similarly XQ is equal to V minimum by ID max or I max here. So minimum is 25 divided by ID max is 10. So one answer will get as a 2.5. So another will get as a 4.61. Okay, so units are ohms. So let's go to the 76 options here, question options here. 76 one is you may find that B will be the most appropriate answer. So B is equal, XD is equal to 4.61, XQ is equal to 2.5. And there is one more question here from the power system. So okay, numerical question here. If the Y bus matrix, so it may not be visible to you, I will Y bus matrix of 100 bus interconnected system is 80% spares. Okay, 80% spares, then number of transmission lines. So number of transmission lines we need to calculate here. So the same question which I was discussed in my power system MCQs, you can go through that video and you will get the answer for this question as a 950. Okay, if you know the answer, fine. If you don't know the answer, just refer to my power system MCQs. I will get the answer as a 950. Okay, next one. What is the size of the Jacobian matrix for a 100 bus power system with the 29 numbers of voltage controlled bus? Okay, so I will explain this question here, 78. So even though I explained this in a previous videos, just I'm repeating again here. Now 78 question, what is the size of Jacobian matrix? So size of the Jacobian matrix is like this. So where 2n minus m minus 2 cross 2n minus m minus 2. So this is the size of the Jacobian matrix. So J matrix we can call. Now what is the given data in that question? So there are 100 buses are there. So n value given as 100 buses. Okay, 100 buses are given, and with a 29, so 29 are the voltage controlled buses. So they given 29 control buses. Okay, so we substitute these values in this formula, you may get the answer as, so 2 into 100 minus 29 minus 2. Okay, so this will leads to 200 minus 31, it is nothing but 169. So for the size of Jacobian matrix, it is nothing but 169 cross 169. So the answer, exact answer for this question is 78th question here, 78th question, right? So answer is C is the right answer here. Next one, 79th question here. 79th question, observe here. An inductance of power transmission line is increases with dash. So that now okay, let me adjust here. Now okay, right. The inductance of power transmission line increases with. So the basic formula for this question is, the question number is 79. Okay, so the formula is L is equal to, so 2 pi into 10 power minus 7 natural logarithm of GMD by GMR. It's a basic formula here. Okay, the inductance of the power transmission increases. So if you want to increase the L, there are two options are there. Either you increase the GMD or you decrease the GMR. So GMD has to increase, or the other option is either you need to decrease this GMR. So let's see the options here. 79th option. For the 79th question, the inductance of power transmission line increases with, decreases with the line length. I will repeat here. Decreases with line length. Okay, and increases in diameter of the conductor. No. Next one, increasing in spacing between the conductors. So right option is increasing the spacing between the conductors. Why? Because if you increase the spacing, automatically GMD will increase. So GMD will increase. Now D is an option. So C is a correct option here. Next one, and this question is from the digital electronics. A mod 6 counter is realized by using 3 number of flip-flops. The counter will skip. So mod 6 counter, here we are using how many flip-flops here? So we are going to use 3 flip-flops. 3 flip-flops here. Question number 80. So we will use 3 flip-flops. So how many combinations it will have? So it will have 2 power 3. There is nothing but 2 into 2 into 2, which will be 8. But the counter is used to count how many states? 6 states. Actually states is 8. It's going to count only 6. What is the difference here? 8 minus 6 is nothing but 2. Okay, so 2 counts are going to be skipped. So 2 counts. For the 80th question, for 80 question, the answer is 2. Okay, so we'll move to the next question here. Okay, now this question is there. It is from the measurement subject. The two voltmeters with the ranges of 100 volts and sensitivity as 10 kilo ohm per volt and 20 kilo ohm per volt. So there are two voltmeters are there with the 10 kilo ohm and 20 kilo ohm per volt with 100 volts as a rating. What is the maximum voltage that can be measured? What is the maximum voltage that can be measured when the voltmeters are connected in series? Okay, so let's take fresh question here. So question number here it is It is a question number 81. The question they asked is, there are two voltmeters of 100 ohms reach. So there are 2 voltmeters. So first let me take an voltmeter with a, here its voltage is 100 volts, and how much it is, 10 kilo ohm per volt. There will be another voltmeter, it is 100 volts but 20 kilo ohm per volt sensitivity. So they are connected like this connection. Now what will be this combination is going to measure here. So it is series connection, the current will be same here. Now first what we will do is, we will take this resistance RT1, will take first of all resistance of this RT1. So because sensitivity given, so RT1 is equal to, so 1 volt 110 kilo ohms, 100 volts means, so 10 into total resistance, 10 into 100 into kilo ohms is 10 power 3 volts here. So I will repeat here again. So I will multiply this value with this value. So 100 into 10 kilo ohms, 1 volt 10 kilo ohms, 100 ohms is 100. So what you will get is 1000 kilo ohms. So similarly RT2 is nothing but, so 100 volts into 20, okay, so kilo ohms, so it's going to be 2000 kilo ohms. So the concept here you need to understand is, these two are there. Now what about the current carrying by each element, I will calculate here. So here it will carry a current I1 is equal to, V is 100 volts divided by 1000 kilo ohms. Okay, so what is the current it can carry? So 100 divided by 1000 means automatically, so 0.1 milliampere. And similarly I2 here, so 100 only, 100 divided by 2000 kilo ohms. So half means 0.05 milliamperes. Now when a combination of series two elements are connected, the currents should be same. The current should not be a different value. That means this will have some other value, this will have some other, not like that. So finalized value will be, both the meters will carry a current of minimum amperes. So that is the main conclusion in that question. 0.05 milliamperes is the entire current. Even though I1 is capable of carrying 0.1 milliamperes, but the second meter is carrying only 0.05. So the series connection will have to obey this rule here. Now we will find the next. What is that? We need to find the total voltage it can measure. So V is nothing but the total current IT into RT. So VT, IT value is how much? Already we know, 0.05 into 10 power minus 3. Total resistance means it have 2000. So 2000 plus 1000 kilo ohms into 10 power 3. So these two gets cancelled. Now here, so 3000 into 0.05, it is going to be finally 150 volts. So the series combination of these two will measure a voltage of 150. So among the options, correct option is B here. Next one, when an ammeter with a 0.2 milliamperes has internal resistance of 10 ohms, what is the value of shunt resistor in order to increase the range of the ammeter to 100 amperes? So in this question there is a meter of 2 milliamperes and we need to increase it to 100 amperes, and resistance is 10 ohms. Now how to make the shunt here? So you know this, the basic concept here. The question here that we are discussing is 83rd question. So 83rd question that we are discussing. Okay, right. Now RSH, shunt resistance, should be the meter resistance divided by multiplying factor m minus 1 here. What is the m? It is nothing but the actual the quantity of the current to be measured, Im, divided by actual quantity Ia here. So what is the Im value? That is 100 we need to measure. How much it is measuring? Already 2 into 10 power minus 3. So it is going to be 5. Okay, so 50 into 10 power 3. Okay, Now RSH is equal to meter resistance, how much? 10 divided by 50 into 10 power 3 if we neglect the 1 here. Now, so what you will get? So 50, 1 by 2 means 2, 10 power minus 3 means, so 0 point actually 0.2 into 10 power minus 3 ohms here. We can write in another manner is 200 micro ohms. Okay, so 0.2 10 power minus 3 ohms, that can be written as a 200 micro ohms. So answer for this question is, so it is 200 micro ohms. Next one. Okay, let me check the question here. Okay, if a network consisting of n number of principal nodes and b number of branches, then the mesh analysis becomes simple than the nodal analysis if n is greater than. So n is greater than, so direct theory question, n is nothing greater than b by 2 plus 1. So answer for this question is question is B here. Next one, the REB given. So find the REB dash in ohms here. So there is a 2 resistance connected in series here like this, 2, 4, 2, 6 here. Okay, so I will redraw the circuit and I will find the REB value here. Next one, that is the question number here, it is 84th one. So 2 ohm, 4 ohm here, 2, so 2, 4, and here terminal A and terminal B is here, and 2 here, and here it is 6 here. So these are the connected by an current source here. So when you want to find the RAB, make this current source non-active. That means the current source can be made a non-active by open circuit. So if you open the circuit here, the equivalent circuit will be like this, 2, 4, 2, 6. Here A and here will be B. So 2, 2, 4, 6. If you redraw the circuit again here, what you will get here it is, so these two combination will become series. So A 2 is in series with the 2 here, so 2 2 becomes 4, and there is a other side, 4 plus 2 becomes 4 plus 6 becomes 10 here like this. Now you know better to find RAB is nothing but 4 into 10 divided by 4 plus 10. So by solving this you get the answer it as 40 by 14. Okay, so answer you can find out here. So for the 80 sorry, we'll move to the next question here. What is the order of impedance in a silent pole alternator? What is the order of impedance in silent pole alternator? So in silent pole alternator, the positive sequence and positive sequence and negative sequence are almost equal, or positive sequence will be greater than that of negative sequence slightly, but zero sequence will be very very less. As you can see in the transformer, in case of transformer, Z0 is greater than Z1 greater than Z2. Why? Because in the transmission line Z0 is having a more value compared to Z1 Z2. So but in alternator, the Z1 and Z2 and Z1 relationship like this. Okay, the answer for this one is Z1 is greater than Z2 is greater than Z0 here. Next one, the insulation resistance of a cable length 20 km is 2 mega ohms. What will be the new resistance if the length is 200 kilometers? Now in this question here, insulation resistance of a cable or length of 20 kilometers is given. So question number here it is 86 here, and the 86 insulation resistance of a cable 20 kilometers. So insulation resistance R is inversely proportional to length here. So R2 by R1 is equal to L2 by L1 by L2. So let me correct here, right? Now R2 is equal to R1 into L2 by L1. So based on this here, what is the value of R1? It is nothing but 2 mega ohms into L2 is nothing but what? 200 kilometers divided by 20 kilometers. Okay. Now, sorry, here I make a correction. Here L2 and here will be L1. So make a correction here. So R1 will be R1 into what is the value of L1? L1 will be 20, L2 will be 200. So 1 and 10. So R1 by 10 means R1 value is 2 mega ohms divided by 10 means 0.2 mega ohms answer. So answer is 0.2 mega ohms. So let me correct this question here, and the answer as you know, I can address the answer as C. Next one, what is the 2's complement of the binary number? So there is a binary number given, that is a 0 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 0 1 1 1 0 1. I'm repeating 0 0 1 0 0 1 1 0 1 0 1 1 1 0 1. So we need to find 2's complement, means just add one more value here. Okay, so one value means it will get, first what we need to do is we need to change this value to 1's complement. So 1's complement is 1 1 0 1. That means replace 0 with 1, 1 with 0. So 0 here means 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 0 0 0 1 0. So then add with 1 here. So final result will be looks like this: 1 1 0 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 1 0 0 0 1 1. So the option will check here which option will match the answer. So see here, 1 1 0 1 1 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 1. So answer D will matches this answer here. Next one, 0 has the two representations in, so it has a two representations in 1's complement. So that question 1's complement here. Next one, how many number of half adders are required for the m bit numbers? Suppose, okay, so if you are having a 4-bit numbers, so this is 4-bit numbers, then how many half adders are required? So you require 7 half adders. Okay, simply take here. So the answer is for this question general formula is 2 into m minus 1 here. So 2 into m minus 1. If you want a 4-bit, you need to have a 7 half adders here. Now what is the output of XOR gate with A and B as the inputs? Okay, so A and B as the inputs. What is the XOR gate? So I know the answer. I will directly go to the answer and I will tell you the why it is the answer. See here. So let me take the page here. Okay, let me take the fresh page. Okay, here I will take the question number is 90. Yes, right. Now the question number 90. The option that I have chosen is A plus B into A B bar. This can be splitted into A plus B, okay, into, I will take the whole bar, I will split into A bar plus B bar here. So from this again, A into A bar plus A into B bar plus A bar B plus B into B bar. Anything product with itself, X into X bar is will be 0. So here it becomes 0 and here it becomes 0. So finally A B bar plus A bar B. So it is exclusive OR gate operation. So option C will be the right option here. And we will move to the next question of this session. We'll move to the 91 question, right? Okay, 91 question. Let's take the question here. A 4 kVA 400 bar 200 volts, a 4 kVA 400 bar 200 volts single phase transformer has a resistance of 0.02 per unit and reactance of 0.06 per unit. The resistance and reactances referred to the HV side are. Okay, here we need to find the reactances here. They given the reactance in per unit and we need to calculate in actual values. So let me take that question, 91 question here. So what is that? There is a transformer which will have a 400 volts and primary and 200 volts are secondary, similar to the problem which we were discussing earlier. So it is having a 4 kVA rating. Okay, they given. Now we need to find the its resistance value. They given 0.02 per unit, and similarly reactance is 0.06 per unit. Okay, and if they are giving per unit, the advantage of the per unit is it will make the calculations easier. Now I need to choose the formula here. So R per unit is equal to R actual value by R base value. Okay, similarly X per unit is equal to X actual value by X base value. So here the advantage of the per unit system is these two are same. So RB is equal to XB is equal to, okay, so V square divided by SB. So VB square. So what is the VB square we need to calculate? It should be calculated on the for the HV side. So what is the HV side voltage? It is 400 whole square divided by base value is 4000 VA. Okay, now so 4 km is 4000 VA and the voltage is 400 square. Now if we solve this, you'll get the answer as how much? 40. Okay, base value means we can take it as a ohms. Now we need actual value. So R actual is equal to, which is formula here, we'll multiply R per unit into R base value. So R per unit is 0.02 into 40. You can see it is 0.8 ohms. Similarly, X is equal to actual is equal to X per unit into XB. So 40 into X per unit is how much? It is 0.06. So it is 2.8 ohms. So among the given options, the correct option will be B here. Next one. Okay, next question also here is having some numerical type. A 100 bar 5 amperes bus bar primary current transformer supplies an overcurrent relay set at 25% pickup, and it is has a burden of 5 VA. The secondary voltage is, so let me take here slide here. So let's talk the 92nd question here. Okay, 92 question. This is a transformer similar as earlier. Now here 105 amperes, 100 amperes, 5 amperes are there. The current transformers overcurrent relay pickup current is 25%. Okay, so first of all, what is the current? I is nothing but 25% means 25 by 100 into actual rating is 5 amperes. Okay, so it is 1.25 amperes are given. Now what is the burden? So burden is 5, which is equal to product of voltage into current. That implies the current 1.25. So V is equal to 5 divided by 1.25. It is nothing but 4 volts here. So among the options for the 92nd question, the 4 volts is the right option. So among the options, D is a correct option here. Next one. Next question. The surge impedance of 400 kilometers long overhead transmission line is 300 ohms. For a 200 kilometer length of the same transmission line, the surge impedance will be, okay, so for the 93rd, the surge impedance is given. The surge impedance will not depends on upon what? Transmission line length. Okay, the surge impedance will not depends upon line length. So based on this point, 300 ohm will remain same as it is. So C will be the right answer here. Next one. In a power network, 380 kilovolts is recorded at a 400 kV bus. A 60 MVAr 400 kV shunt reactor is connected to the bus. What is the reactive power absorbed by the shunt reactor? So for the 94th question I will take here. So let me correct here, 94th question. So there is a bus is there. What is the voltage rating? Voltage rating of the bus is a 400. Okay, next one, we reduce the voltage to 380 kV. Now what will be the reactive power here? Okay, now first Q is proportional to V square. So Q2 by Q1 is equal to V2 square divided by V1 square. So based on this, so Q2 is equal to Q1 into V2 square divided by V1 square. What is the V2? Secondary case voltage. It is 380 into 380 into, what about the Q1? Q1 is specified as 60 divided by 400 into 400. If you solve this, you may get the answer. It has 54.15 MVAr. So answer for this question is B will be the correct answer. Okay, next one. In a pressure coil of a dynamometer, so dynamometer type wattmeter, the pressure coil of a dynamometer type wattmeter, it should be highly inductive. So highly inductive will be the, dynamometer type wattmeter, it should be highly inductive. So highly inductive means answer A will be the right answer. Okay, dynamometer type wattmeter, dynamometer type wattmeter means it should be highly resistive. So highly resistive is the answer. Make a correction here. So dynamometer type energy meter means, if the energy meter means it should be highly inductive, wattmeter means highly, it should be resistive. Okay, make a correction of the question. Two mechanically coupled alternators deliver a power of 50 Hz and 60 Hz respectively. What is the highest speed of the alternators? I will repeat the question here. Two mechanically coupled alternators delivers a power of 50 Hz and power of 50 Hz and 60 Hz. When they are coupled, what will be the highest speed here? Okay, so let me take the question here. The question number here is 96. So there are two alternators which are connected like this mechanically. This will have a speed of ns1 and this will have a speed of ns2. So ns1 means how much the speed given. 50 Hz means generally if you take a 4-pole machine, okay, the speed will be ns is equal to 125, ns is equal to 120 f by p. Generally if you take p is a constant, p is equal to 4, it is going to be how much? So 120 into f is how much? Frequency is 50. Okay, so the poles we can assume a 4 or 2. So just basically what we will do is we will take the poles as a 2. Okay, so p is equal to 2, minimum number of poles. So 160 means 3000 rpm. So similarly ns2, it is going to be 60 Hz, no? So 120 into 60 divided by 2, so 200 to 30, it is nothing but 3600 rpm. When they are mechanically coupled, the actual speed Na will be difference between ns2 and ns1, so it is nothing but 600 rpm. So the answer will be 96 question. So it is 600 rpm. Next one, the resultant flux density in an air gap of a synchronous generator is lowest during. So when there is a short circuit, the circuit entirely behave as a inductive. So as a inductive, there will be a ZPF lagging will be there. So during that condition, the flux density in the air gap will be minimum. So this happens only in case of solid short circuit. On the 98th question here, 98th question, An voltmeter gives a 120 oscillations per minute when connected to the rotor of an induction motor. So when the stator frequency is 50 Hz, what is the slip here? Okay, I'll repeat the question here. So the question is, a voltmeter gives 120 oscillations per minute when connected to the rotor of an induction motor. When the starter frequency is 50 Hz, what is the slip frequency? So let me take the question number 98 here. So the first question is convert this voltmeter reading. So voltmeter frequency reading is a 120 oscillations per minute. So convert into seconds. So 120 by 60, it will leads to 2 oscillations per seconds, or we can say 2 cycles per second. So cycles per second is nothing but frequency. Okay, so cycles per second is nothing but frequency here. Okay, now what they ask, actual frequency how much? So actual frequency f is equal to 50 Hz. So 50 Hz is given. So actual frequency, this is a rotor frequency. We need to find a slip here. So slip will be calculated by using the formula f dash or fr is equal to, so fr is equal to s into f. So based on this, s is equal to fr by f. If in terms of percentage means we will multiply with 100% here. Fr is how much? 2 divided by f value is 50 into 100. So 1, 2 will get a 4% slip. Okay, without doing this problem also, you can say simply the value of the slip will be around only 4% maximum cases. The value of the slip will be, you can consider as a default as 4%. Next one, inductance of a transmission line having a length of 400 kilometers in unsymmetrical configuration. It's not unsymmetrical, it's a unsymmetrical configuration where LR, that is the inductance of the cable, LR is equal to inductance of cable wire is 30 millihenry, Ly will be 20 millihenry, Lb will be 25 millihenry. So 30, 25, 20. Okay, then unsymmetrical configuration. What will be the inductance of the each transmission line after transposing? So what will be the inductance here? So we will take the 99th question here. So 99th question, there are 3 values they given. Lr is equal to how much? 30 millihenry, and Ly will be equal to 20 millihenry, and Rlb is equal to 25 millihenry. So when the transmission lines are transposed here, okay, like this, what will be the its value? Okay, what is actual inductance here? Now we have 3 phases are there, so we are transmitting 3 times. We will take L average, so Lr plus Ly plus Lb divided by 3 phases means we will multiply divide by 3. We need to find the average value, right? Now L average will be equal to Lr is 30 plus 20 plus 25 divided by 3 is nothing but 75 by 3 millihenry is nothing but 25 millihenry will be the average value. So for the 99 question, it will be 25 millihenry. So C is the correct answer. Okay, for this question is C will be the right answer here. And the last question for this session, the dynamometer type wattmeter is the current coil and voltage coil connections are interchanged. Then so if you are changing the current coil and voltage coil connections, interchanging there, then automatically current coil will be burned. Why? Because in the current coil will have few turns. So as the few turns are there, it acts as a fuse. So when you interchange that connections, pressure coil will have more potential difference, so it will cause the current to flow. The current causes I square R losses, and simply it will going to be burn or fuse. So the answer for this one is current coil is going to be damages. Okay, so thank you friends for watching my video. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel, and I know that 80% of the subscribers that are watching these videos are not subscribing, so please make a subscription of this T Academy. Thank you. If you like this video, please share with your friends. Have a nice day.